Alright, thank you for tuning in. Today we are going to be discussing the medical medium, a fellow who claims that foods can do things that foods really cannot do. So the first claim I came across on the Facebook post that I was looking at was that cucumbers flush bacteria and viruses from the body. And I'm not sure what context this is in, so I decided to go have myself a look at his website. Alright, and a quick perusal of his website via Google, one of my favorite things, shows us a cucumber juice page, which is 3 paragraphs, plus a recipe for how to make cucumber juice, which is you blend it and you drink it once you've strained it. And basically, there's nothing here that has any verifiable claims to it. He claims that it can help with various neurological disorders. That's right, cucumber juice can supposedly help you with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, migraines, anxiety, depression, shingles, eczema, psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and lupus. Now, I think we can safely presume that these claims are false. However, he is shilling books which are being shilled toward people with these conditions who think that these kind of things are going to help them if they pay this man. This man is a fraud. And I went so far as to search the ncbi.nlm.nih.gov and found only a study on the effects of a gliadin-combined plant superoxide dismutase extract on self-perceived fatigue in women aged 50 to 65 years. And it shows in the last sentence there that it has no significant effect on self-perceived fatigue, antioxidants, oxidative stress, or hormones in women aged 50 to 65 years. Literally the only study in the entire database that could possibly support even a modicum of this claim is not true. And it is definitely not true because it does not apply to chronic fatigue syndrome. And I'm presuming, by extension, any other neurological disorders. Because again, he hasn't provided any citations or references, which means there probably are not any, and he is making baseless claims to try to bilk people who are genuinely in pain out of their money. So the next claim I am met with is that pineapple burns fat and tones the stomach, which again is a claim not supported by any evidence that I could find on nlm.nih.gov, which means that it is probably a baseless assertion, and since he is not citing any sources either, I can presume exactly as much. Remember, it's only an assumption if you don't have evidence to work on. It is a presumption that he is not placing an article here. Therefore, there is no article to place here. And the next claim I was met with was that Asian pear helps remove radioactive toxins from the body. This is demonstrably false. If you have heavy isotopes of uranium, thorium, plutonium, or radium in your body, there is no food of which I'm aware of that will remove those things from you. Heavy metals are hard to get out of your body. Now let's presume that they mean something else by this. There are other radioactive elements present within your body, like carbon, which comes in various isotopes, a few of which are indeed very radioactive. But the point of the matter is the kind of radiation that comes off of it is not dangerous to you. In fact, it is part of how your body functions, and how it can function with that radioactive material in there is fascinating. That actually brings us to some other interesting things, but no, pears are not going to remove radioactive toxins from your body. And again, there's plenty of other interesting science you can look at out there. I'm going to keep this video kind of short, but it is sufficient to tell you that you're not going to get rid of an accidental dose of americium with a pear. But then I could forgive some of the previous posts if it weren't for the fact that he was selling shill, as though it were actual medical science. I could forgive his endeavor to engage in capitalism on gullible individuals, but then I come across this. And he says, Amlaberry, also known as Indian gooseberry, is an amazing fruit that contains a phenomenal amount of vitamin C. Alright, so let's take that claim apart a little bit. I mean, yes, it is known as Indian gooseberry. It's gooseberry, alright? It's gooseberry. It's a plant you may have seen if you live in North America. It's not common here, but it is semi-native. It grows here. It's more found in Europe and, I suppose, India, because it's named Indian. But then again, the British have funny ways of naming things. So let's go back to the main claim. It has a phenomenal amount of vitamin C. Well, let's see exactly how much C is in the gooseberry. So literally, the only thing we have is a clinical study showing that there may be a reduction of blood cholesterol levels in men who use this. However, it is not confirmed in the least because there's only been one clinical trial and it's not properly double-blinded against everything because it's really hard to do in this sort of thing. So in the future there may actually be some cholesterol benefits to eating it. However, in present, there don't seem to be, and we're not even talking about that anyway. We're discussing whether or not it actually has the vitamin C that it's claimed to have, which is phenomenal levels. However, I can find no nutritional data on this from any reliable source. And even the Wikipedia page states that the claims are merely reputed. So they're only, claimed without evidence. And the antioxidant strength may not even come from that because of its high density of allantoinins such as ambilicanin A, ambilicanin B, punigluconin, and pedunculagin. I can't pronounce these at all, so that's a lot of fun for you. But yes, I mean, it contains polyphenols and such, so that it could appear to have very high levels of vitamin C, but it probably does not. And you might think to yourself, well, why is this important? Why should I care? He's just trying to tell us how we might be able to help ourselves. He's trying to give us good ideas for the future. He's trying to teach people to be healthier and eat healthier and this sort of thing. But the problem is he isn't actually doing that. He is in no way claiming that it's simply healthy to eat these foods. He's claiming that these foods do things that they are not shown to do. It's exactly the same as if you were a cancer patient, or you had a chronic illness of some sort, or you had a problem that was very severe. Let's pretend you have a broken leg, or you've known someone who has a broken leg. Now imagine that I told them that I had a magical tag that I could give them that would heal their broken leg faster. Would you presume that I'm just trying to give them advice on how to live better? Or would you presume that I actually have a magical tag that will make their leg heal faster? Now, I'm just an average, ordinary person. I am not a medical medium. I am not any kind of doctor, and I am not putting myself out there as such, and so you should not take any medical advice from me. However, this person claims to have that kind of knowledge and is putting himself out there as such a person, as such a professional, whose job it is to give you good, right information and to not sell you things that are just tripe. He has a higher duty than myself, to be honest to you, until I actually enter into the realm of trying to sell you a book that will tell you that eating more oranges will cure your cancer. Again, I'm not selling such a book. He is, and that's why this is dangerous. He is taking money from people who genuinely probably do not have it in order to further his own agenda of simply making money off of their ignorance. I don't want him making money off of your ignorance and causing you further suffering by making you, say, not go to the doctor because you spent $35 on his book and now you don't have $20 for your copay or something. which does happen to a lot of people. You see this in religious things too, but we'll get into that in another video. In point of fact, here is the disclaimer from his website showing you very clearly that he is none of the things that he appears to be on his front page. This disclaimer is very important, because if you do rely on the advice he gives you, and you do as a result suffer bad things from it, he is literally not liable for those actions. This is a dangerous game he plays, and he's playing it with other people's lives. In point of fact, I actually went to his YouTube channel. He has one. It has a few videos. They're all pretty bad. But this is the one that popped up right at first, and it's the one I'm going to have a little fun with. Now, mind you, I'd love to be able to interact with this fellow, but his comments are disabled. So perhaps you can talk to him on Twitter. I'm not going to try because it's a waste of my time and I'm making this video response right now. However, if you feel so inclined, please do let him know your opinions of his things. Also, I'm putting this right up before I play this video. Fair use.
In this book, I reveal truths about chronic illnesses you won't learn anywhere else.
So I'm almost certain he's not going to do that, but if I can find the book in a library or something, I certainly will give it a read.
You won't hear it from your doctor, read it in any other books, or find it on the internet.
Why do you reckon that is? Probably because it's not actual knowledge.
These are secrets that have not yet surfaced about how to finally heal, and I'm bringing them to light to you for the very first time.
Or in other words, you're going to make up a bunch of crap, and then you're going to try to sell it as though it is actual fact, presenting yourself as a medical professional, when in fact, by your own disclaimer, you are not.
When I was 4 years old, I heard a voice.
I am the spirit of the Most High.
Sweet, I didn't know there was a stoner god.
There is none above me but God himself.
Okay, so you mean to tell me the spirit of the Most High is not God? Or are you trying to imply that you are the highest human, apart from God? Again, this is where semantics is perhaps very important. And also you were 4 years old. I very seriously doubt you were thinking about these kind of things. I mean, God could have revealed himself to anyone, but he picked some 4-year-old who was going to write a book full of shill later. Oh, wait.
That night at the dinner table, Spirit came to me.
I wonder what all this has to do with superfoods and stuff.
But, you know, I like to... I'm sorry.
His mouth never moved, but I could hear his voice speak to me.
I am here for you.
I'm not a doctor. I have no medical training.
Well, at least you're being honest about it. And yes, when someone you know has a death experience, a lot of times hallucination does happen, especially in younger children, as a coping mechanism. Sometimes it happens later, as a memory that was fabricated, or it happens spontaneously when the thing happens. It's not really all that crazy. It's not supernatural in the slightest to understand that someone near to you is going through a very hard time, and that they may, you know, die soon. And if you're in that mindset where you think that angels are real, it's very possible you could get this kind of idea ingrained in your head. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened here. I think this story could be completely fabricated, but the way this guy is speaking leads me to believe that he actually believes this. But then again, all that money can make someone believe anything, especially if they know you're going to pay them for it.
But I can tell you things about your health that no one else can. I can give you clarity on diseases that doctors often misdiagnose or treat incorrectly.
And here we get at the real heart of the issue. He is claiming that he knows better than the doctors that are seeing you on a regular basis, presuming that you have the kind of conditions that require you to see a doctor on a regular basis. That somehow the information contained within his head, which he just admitted he thinks comes from a hallucination, although he didn't say it directly, is more reliable than the doctors and the medications you're already taking. And he's trying to say that because of this divine knowledge, again, I mentioned this in my last video, I'll mention it again here. If God does have the cure to these things, there's no reason God can't just present himself to anyone. And the fact that he is just presenting himself to anyone, or so the claim goes, then there's absolutely no reason he wouldn't just simply, not make the diseases to begin with. But again, the website doesn't claim very much of anything about religion. It claims that foods are the source of how to heal these things, not God, or not some divine knowledge. So we have two conflicting reports here, and that's what I would expect from a man who is lying through his teeth.
Or they just give up on and label mystery illness.
Usually the kind of illnesses that doctors cannot describe anymore are actually very mysterious. And until you can show that you've actually taken one of those hard-to-figure-out diseases and cured it through your methods, you are not actually proving anything. You're just pointing out a fact. An inconvenient one, a sad one perhaps. But a fact nonetheless, and saying that because that fact exists, you must be right. This is what's called a false dichotomy. And I will not let you entertain it any further.
Everybody always makes brownies. They always have so much of that stuff.
Say lung cancer.
Lung cancer.
What's it, darling?
I didn't even know what those words meant.
So here we have the fellow engaging in a logical fallacy of appeal to emotion, for one, but also a reversed poisoning the well fallacy where he's saying, look, I couldn't even have known what this was. Naturally, my story must be true. He's trying to get you to understand that, he was a young kid. The spirit thing spoke to him. This is why it must be real, because I felt it, because I thought it was real, because the emotions were correct. But as we all know, our emotions can mislead us. We can remember things wrong. He was 4 years old. How much do you remember from when you were 4 years old? Probably not very much. But if there were a traumatic event, like someone in your family developing lung cancer, you may think back on it, or even you may realize when you're very young that you pick up a lot of words you do not realize. This is a cognitive habit children have. No matter how much you might try to keep the child from learning something, children are amazingly perceptive and will pick up on it. So the child could very well have done this thing, walked up and said to his mother, lung cancer, and touched her on the chest. But it doesn't mean that it wasn't in his subconscious somewhere to begin with. I mean, if she was actually in danger of developing it, or she had it at the time, there's a very good likelihood that child would have heard the words lung cancer a few times, regardless of the context, and put it together subconsciously, as children do, because children don't do very many things consciously, and that's the reason we don't give them the rights of an adult. And yes, this could have happened, without the high specter.
Say it again. Say lung.
Lung
Now say cancer.
cancer.
Now say grandma has lung cancer.
Grandma has lung cancer.
Again, I defer to my previous point.
You okay? Huh?
My grandmother visited her doctor, and the chest x-ray revealed she had lung cancer.
And again, it's a very important distinction. I'm not saying his grandmother did not have lung cancer, and I'm not saying that the event did not happen as he put it. I'm saying, however, it's very unlikely that a demon specter visited him only a few times, and only him, or maybe an angelic specter, I guess, but it's telling him his grandma has lung cancer. Is that the kind of thing you would want a god to tell you and then not fix? I mean, if you are God's favored and he's sending his angels at you, couldn't he just as easily, not let the lung cancer happen? But who am I to decide these things? You are the audience.
For over 20 years, I've helped tens of thousands of people recover and heal.
And while I'm at it, I'm going to address one more point. Why is God letting you help these people to heal in the first place? Are you saying that God is making these people sick? Or whatever this spirit is you're claiming, that claims that God is the only thing higher than it? Are you claiming seriously that God is putting illness onto the earth just so that he can send an angel to you to reveal the cure to those illnesses if they pay you some money? You're saying this is a good action your God is engaging in. You're not even making a theocratic assumption here. You're just saying God makes people sick or allows the sickness to happen, which is the same thing if your God is as powerful as you are portraying him to be, and then allows only you, with the knowledge of the universe through him, to cure these people, and only if they send you money. Again, the same thing I said in the last video. If you honestly could cure these people, and you didn't actually show any of that with your previous hallucination where the devil came to you, or demon, or angel, or whatever it is, they're all the same because they're not real. Again, you're not supporting that premise. All it did was tell you that your grandmother had lung cancer. The thing didn't actually tell you how to solve it. So even within your own convoluted narrative, you are wrong, sir.
Illnesses such as rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, Lyme disease, and so much more.
How convenient for us you haven't actually shown us a single example, even on your website. You show us testimonials and things, but testimonials are not actual useful data. Show us clinically. Do one for us in the future. Demonstrate to us, as the previous guy said, that he can see cancer cells dissolving on a daily basis. You claim that you can see someone, tell them what's wrong with them, and then fix it. I demand you show evidence for this. And I don't mean just some testimonial. I mean, put these people through tests when they are sick. Do your thing and not the doctor's thing. And then show us the progression of the elimination of whatever disease you are discussing. If you can do this, and you can get this published to a reputable paper that is peer-reviewed, then perhaps I will give you a full apology and retraction of my view. Otherwise, I'm claiming that you are doing more harm than good and should be investigated as a fraudster by the appropriate authorities.
It's time for you to learn these secrets and gain control over your life.
So, why not just reveal these secrets, man? I'm not putting the information I'm giving these people behind a paywall. If I believe that I found a very important thing that would benefit humanity exceptionally, I would not demand payment for it just because people are suffering.
It's the way it's meant to be. It's the way Spirit wanted it to be.
Alright, and the remainder of that video is just him trying to shill his book onto you. I hope this has been informative and interesting, and if you've stayed this long through it, well, I appreciate that. Give it a like, comment. Alright, and that's pretty much the end of the video. The rest of it is just a little graphic of the actual book, and it gives you information on how to purchase it. If you're still not convinced that you shouldn't, I'm not sure that I can help you. He's going to steal your money if you're going to give it to him in the first place. He doesn't have any divine knowledge to reveal to you. If he did, he would have demonstrable cases of where he had actually done things rather than just waffle and fluff. Again, if you liked it, hit the like button, comment, you can subscribe if you want to hear more things like this. I've been finding a lot of crazy people like this recently, it seems. Again, I don't think his base claims on his website are terrible. Eat healthy foods and be healthy is a good thing, but that's not really what he's claiming when you look at the actual things. He's claiming that certain foods can do things that certain foods cannot. and making people potentially even more sick or killing them because of it, just to make a few dollars. I do not believe this is ethical, although I believe he may find it moral. Have a good day.